Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I have about 6 to 7 topics for this video. The first one, the Germans will not send any more military hardware to Ukraine. Second one, the Americans will fight for Israel, which is they are sending in a process in receiving the Israelis a THAAD, air defense system in Israel, plus the US military to operate it. Well, you are at war, my friends. Why? Because the Iron Dome works perfectly, we're told. So I have about 3 articles regarding that one. The European Union, next topic, doesn't have an independent foreign policy. And it's very interesting how it was capable of imposing sanctions on Iran for something they did, but not on Israel for something they are doing. We want to talk about that. Well. I don't know if you remember. If you don't, I will remind you. If you don't know, I will let you know. And I said this many times before. A lot of armies run on amphetamines, run on drugs. Obviously, the Russian military runs on drugs. We were told many times before. And who else but the Wehrmacht was fighting on drugs? Remember? Amphetamines all over. But our military? Never. Niemals. Never. Well, I said this is a lie because we know these guys were doing that since what? Since ancient times, since ancient Rome, ancient Greece. They were using this kind of enhanced, drugs. So we find out that the Americans use them. Surprise, surprise? No, not at all. Not here. If there, stay tuned. Next one. We find that in the United States of America, where discrimination is not allowed based on certain things, you cannot be discriminated, or at least these guys are trying in California to discriminate based on your political views. That is, if I show up, let's say, I'm trying to bid for a job somewhere. Let's say I'm a private contractor, and I want to apply for a bid and try to win it. If I have the wrong political views, then they will disconsider my bidding. We'll have Elon Musk in California. Elon Musk will start, according to him, obviously, legal action against California officials. Why? Because they did not accept his SpaceX doing something because of his tweets, politically incorrect tweets. Now, what is that? Tyranny, imbecility, both? All right, we're going to discuss. Yesterday I covered a piece of news where the North Koreans claimed that some drones, South Korean drones, were flying over Pyongyang, which is the capital of North Korea. The woodchuck was a little bit upset about it, so now they're ready to strike South Korea militarily. The artillery is ready if any more drones show up. What if the Americans send about 10 drones over there? What will they do? Hit South Korea? There's drones flying. So it seems like we're going to have another Ukraine in Korean Peninsula, as I said many times, or in Taiwan. That's another one. We have Iran now over there. In all this, it's only one common denominator. The force, singular, of the good, which is Al Capone. You find Al Capone in Ukraine, you find Al Capone in the Middle East, you find Al Capone in Far East, because it fights for protecting us. It's the force of good. Of course you have to fight different evil people and evil countries all over this poor planet. Without Al Capone and its backers, like not Boris Becker, but Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, all these JP Morgans and Goldman Sachs and all that, you can't. Or let's say add those guys with Amoco, Sunoco, Facoco, Shell, without those guys, United States of America cannot protect us, right? So we have to bail them out. They're too big to fail. All right, so this is the last topic for this video. So let's start with the beginning, with the Germans. And this comes from Russia Today, and it says, no more German military hardware for Ukraine, Bild claims. Do you believe that? Well, no more for now, but the next minute could be a different situation. That's the way they operate. If you think that Germany will not send weapons to Ukraine or to Israel, you are just living in a different world, not a real one. So, Kiev does not have the resources to launch another counteroffensive anytime soon, officials in Berlin reportedly believe. Yeah, but if they don't have a counteroffensive, they have to defend their country like Israel does. Germany has no more military hardware to offer because it doesn't have, ran out of it, beyond what has already been pledged, even as Kiev remains hard-pressed by Russia on the front line, Bild reported on Saturday. According to the outlet, the German Defense Ministry does not believe that Ukraine will be capable of launching an offensive to liberate its own territory in the near future. Why? That means the Russians are winning? Or there are no more Ukrainians to fight? Because if you think that, that means you say, well, why should I give some weapons to some dead people? They can't operate them. They can't use them. Therefore, it's useless to do it. Or you say, well, those people are alive, we're going to still send them because there are a lot of them and they can defend their country. And maybe they take over. I don't think Ukraine has a lot of troops ready. I said this many, many times before, they were lacking troops. It's okay. I think NATO will show up and is, I think, in a process, an ongoing process of showing up with volunteers. And I explained how NATO military units show up to Poland, take their military uniforms off, the NATO ones, take the volunteer ones, take a picture, writes volunteer, puts right here when they're found on the front, they are volunteers, and they go with their commander, they're transported as volunteers in Ukraine. And they fight as a NATO unit dressed in volunteer clothes with a old certificate, but before they enter Poland, they sign something like, we're not part of the whatever military, NATO military we are part of. Therefore, that's all legal. We're not US military, but now we're volunteers. And if we escape Ukraine and we come back to Poland, then we come back into the US military. I think that's been happening. All right. So the report also said, citing an internal document, that Berlin will no longer send heavy weapons, end quote, to Ukraine, and that deliveries of this type of aid have been completed. The term applies to tanks, infantry fighting vehicles, armored personnel carriers, self-propelled howitzers, and similar hardware. Well, in addition, according to Bild, a supposedly new 1.4 billion euros, which is $1.53 billion, military aid package German Chancellor Olaf Scholz recently pledged, in fact, refers to commitments promised and paid for last year. All right, well, I think they will resume sending all this as long as the elections in United States of America, the garbage happening in the Middle East, and maybe right now the woodchuck being a little upset. Maybe they say, hold on, time out, we don't know exactly what the Americans are doing with the evil people around the world. All right, let's go to the next topic. And this is an article from yesterday that I covered in a video, and here it is from Sputnik. US defense official says no decision made on possible deployment of THAAD system to Israel. My question is, why would you send, or let's get the other way, the same argument I made yesterday. If things work, don't touch it. If it worked well. If it doesn't work, what a god damn it. If it doesn't work well, then you change things, right? So we were told that when the evil Iranians launched the attack on Israel, it was very unsuccessful. Just the debris of the hit missiles just fell down. No targets were hit, and very, just a place somewhere in a military air base, but it was not the F-35s. No, it was just a hangar over there. That's it. So very ineffective, because the Iron Dome, the Israeli defense, systems, they destroyed almost all of them. It was nothing. But we need help. We need send us a THAAD. Now, I don't think that THAAD will do wonders and could be destroyed. We're never going to find out it was destroyed. I guarantee you that, even if that happens, the first one. And the second one, maybe the Americans just want to test their weapons over there. That's another one. But why would you send it? Remember, that will be operated by the American military. So American military is going to put itself in the harm's way right in a war between Iran and Israel. You are at war. Didn't I tell you that? And it's going to escalate. This is just the beginning. Just the beginning. When I said this many, many times before, the decisions have been made. It's just they need time to prepare the baboons' little nerves to make the right contact. Or that they have only two. Anode and cathode. When they reach spark, yeah, man, let's do it. That's how they act. So they prepare these guys. Mountain slope model. I told you many, many times. Why? Because here we have an article from Associated Press, and this is from today. Middle East latest. US says it will send THAAD defense battery to Israel, along with American troops. Congratulations, you pay for that. You fight for someone else. They tell you, oh, look at diversity here. No, you're not going to see that kind of diversity. You see a male and female, and they. We don't see another kind of diversity in. But anyway, let's don't go to that route in this video. So they will fight. Anybody ask you for that? If you agree with that? No, because that's how democracy works. You vote. No, you go and you participate in voting one time. You elect two people out of two people who are pushed forward by people behind that you have no control, with the money that your $25, $50 campaign donations are just a jerk off, all right? Nothing. And then these guys get elected. And then for the next 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, depending if it's a senator, if it's a House of Representative, or if it's a US president, then you shut the fuck up, go to work, and keep your mask on and go to have your naps in the basement and drive and so on. Because what? They're not going to ask you squat. The process, the system works. And they will do whatever they want, and they keep you safe. Now, if they tell me that they keep me safe by doing that to Israel, they don't do that to many other countries where some people fuck up some other people. Why? They don't own us. All right, let's not go to the next. Let's read the first paragraph of this article. The US is sending, this is present tense continuous, right? Terminal high altitude area defense battery to Israel, along with US troops to operate it. But somehow we trained the Ukrainians to operate the Patriot systems and the HIMARS systems. It's a lie. I think it's a lie. And I'm supposed to believe that here they send. Why didn't they train the Israelis? They don't have time? These things were planned, my friends, a long time ago. They were decided, not planned. Planned and decided. The Pentagon made the announcement just hours after Iran warned that U.S. to keep its military forces out of Israel. So the U.S. says, no, we're going to get involved. And again, the history that Associated Press parrots for us started in October 1st, right after the other one in October 7th. Israel is widely believed to be preparing a military response to Iran's response. They responded to someone else's response and to someone else's response. Next one. Associated Press. U.S. will send the missile defense systems and troops to run it to Israel to aid defense against Iran. To aid. I don't want to aid. No, I don't want to aid. Do I have a say? Yeah, here, as long as they allow me. And then that's it. They do what the fuck ever they want. You know, the caravan passes, the dogs are barking. And this is what you call democracy? Well, work within the system. For 4 years, these guys can implement all kind of policies that can ruin my children, my grandchildren's future, and so on, and yours as well. And this is democracy? Well, yeah. Well, how can we change this? First, by spreading knowledge, okay, and talking about it. Then organizing, and the third one, voting. All right, let's see what the Europeans are doing, how they are harming the evil Iranians, because Europe has an independent foreign policy. It immediately sanctions Iran over missiles supplied to Russia, but it didn't sanction, let's say, Israel for defending itself, entering an internationally recognized independent sovereign country of, let's say, Lebanon, striking with missiles inside other countries, like, for instance, Syria, again, independent sovereign. No sanctions whatsoever. What does that tell you? Well, I know exactly what it is. Did you get a hint? Come on, it was very easy. So they are going to do that. Next one. We're going to find out that not only the Wehrmacht and the Russians are fighting on amphetamines and other drugs, but also the US Navy SEALs, right there. So, according to military.com, which is from October 11, 2024, investigation of SEALs drowning also uncovers allegations of performance-enhancing drug use, secret surgery. Now, here I'm going to show you a number of videos when I covered the death of the two SEALs and by Yemen, fighting the Iranian weapons deliveries. So in these ones right here, all these three, all right, bam, 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 I mentioned that these guys, at that time they said it was the training. They lied. I know they were lying. You don't just die in a training, right? Just like that. I mean, it was so baboonish. Anyway, so they died in a training in the, over there at, by Somalia, And then we find out, actually, they were in a operation, okay? And then little by little, they told us exactly what it was. They didn't tell us yet that they were shot or anything. No, they just fell in the ocean over there. And then they perished because a seal cannot swim. Got that? All right. So we covered that one. And now they come back to tell us that actually these guys were drugged. They had performance-enhancing drug use. Now, let's read about it. This is not surprising to me. I'm just bringing this to you so you can only do your own research. That's why I'm doing this. I don't want to convince you that these are given or they are taken and people close their eyes and doing it. But it's done. And I want you to do your research. So when you hear that the Russians are fighting like this, or the Germans, all right, imagine others did the same way. Others. And look at this. This got the... Okay. A Navy investigation into the drowning death of two Navy SEALs released on Friday also revealed that the elite warfare community, that means not only the whole thing over there, is still struggling, so it has been, with performance-enhancing drug use and a culture of exceptionalism where members are able to do things that would be off limits to regular sailors. Yes, you have to get them crazy, pumped up. Like sometimes you see people who, before they start a fight, they start smacking themselves and, let's go in. Why? Because they are not prepared inside to face that as normal behavior. Okay, that's what's gonna be. No, you need, you're afraid shitless, so you have to control yourself as much as you can. So let's see. The service determined the death of the sailors off the coast of Somalia in January during a ship boarding. January, right? All right. During a shipboarding mission, they said it was a training one at that time, to intercept Iranian-made weapons headed to Yemen were preventable and stemmed from a lack of concern over flotation gear. Come on. But during the investigation, Navy officials also received the anonymous tip of two SEALs, and I'm quoting, wrongfully using performance-enhancing drugs. A SEAL, and I'm quoting again, having surgery outside the knowledge and care of the U.S. Navy machine and wrongful consumption of alcohol aboard USS Lewis B by a SEAL whose name was redacted. The Navy investigation stressed the allegation raised in the complaint were not root causes of the decision to conduct the board operation of the drawing death of the blah blah blah. So we have the names here and so on. So the problem is, my thing is, investigation found that one SEAL Team 3 member came forward to the unit's medical department at some point before the deployment and disclosed that he was prescribed testosterone replacement therapy. That's it. There's a, let's do it. That's one that they give us. However, following his death, a stash of PEDs, including testosterone and human growth hormone, were found in his car, drawing attention to the prospect of drug use within the elite community. Well, they're not going to tell us about any amphetamines yet. But anyway. So, my friends, my point is this. I'm not saying this is ordered or it's given to them by the U.S. officials, even though I suspect that if you have a war, that could happen. That could happen. But what I want is the beak a little bit smaller when you talk about other armies and so on. They say, hey, come on, man, it was just a testosterone therapy. They just want to buff up and be strong and all that. Well, that's what they tell us. But I suspect there is more to the story. I mean, do your research. Next one. Let's find out what Los Angeles Times tell us about Elon Musk and California officials. So this was yesterday, I think. But I stood on it because I said, well, I have so much to... No, we don't want to pay you anything. God damn it. All right, here. And I said, well, maybe something... I didn't have time. I have so much news to cover. It's unbelievable how much garbage. Actually, October 11th. By Salvador Hernandez. California officials reject more SpaceX rocket launches, with some citing Musk's X post. All right, so this is what he said. SpaceX plans to launch more rockets from California coast were rejected by a state commission this week, with some officials citing Elon Musk's political posts on X and raising concerns about the billionaire's labor record at his companies. You got it? So no, I don't think we're going to do this. Why? Because we don't like your political post. Is that a valid point? I mean, you can make it if you want to be a baboon, but if you look like that, who's perfect? Or only the acceptable statements should allow a company to operate and be allowed to, I don't know, do something. Well, it's okay. Elon Musk is, I think he's just, these guys are trying to destroy his Tesla and not only. Here, Business Insider. Elon Musk says he will take legal action after California officials cited his politics when rejecting SpaceX launches. This is from today, October 14th, 2024. Elon Musk responded after California officials rejected a request for more frequent SpaceX launches. The State Coastal Commission denied a request from the U.S. Space Force on Thursday. Some commissioners expressed concern about Musk's politics. And Elon Musk threatened to take legal action. So, the land of the free, no discrimination, or you can discriminate on certain things but not on other things. That means you don't have values. That's really what it is. You don't have not only values, but is it legal? I mean, if that's legal, tomorrow they can ban, I don't know, your child going to school because you have some tweets that they don't like. All right, next topic. And the next topic we have the woodchuck. And the woodchuck, I think he's ready to push the buttons. Reacts. Remember who's behind all this. Not the North Koreans, not the South Koreans. The ones that were behind Ukraine war. Agence France-Presse from today, October 14th, 2024. South Korea military says fully ready as drone flights near north. Flights anger north. They should not be angry, you know. South Korea's military said on Monday it was fully ready to respond after North Korea ordered troops on the border to prepare the fire in a dispute over drones flights to Pyongyang. So South Korea is ready. As South Korea is ready to fight North Korea, their brothers, because of Al Capone being in the area. The nuclear-armed North has accused Seoul of flying drones over its capital to drop propaganda leaflets filled with inflammatory rumors and rubbish, end quote, and warned on Sunday that it would consider it, and I'm quoting, a declaration of war if another drone was detected. Fox News, North Korea sends warning to South Korea saying troops ready to strike if more drones appear. And we got from Russia Today, North Korea warns artillery ready to open fire on South. And I'm quoting, any provocation by Seoul will end in a horrible disaster, Kim Jong-un's sisters has warned. All right. So, I know some industries that are rubbing their hands ready. Why? That means missiles, that means profits, man. And there's the banking system, there's a military-industrial complex in the United States of America with their, arms manufacturing vultures, and then you have, obviously, the energy sector. The same ones as in Ukraine. It's just a coincidence. Why? Because if it's a war, Emil, these guys are obviously going to be involved. So it's not, they just help. It's not the other way around, that the money of these guys elect the right candidates that will work towards provoking. No, it's not like that. And the same companies have money to, buy shares in media outlets that they will eventually own, obviously. And they will propagandize these imbeciles to even believe that the THAAD system and the U.S. military in Israel, it's a noble cause because we are attacked by Iran. They keep Iran over there. You remember after September 11th that, remember? All right. You remember when they said that it's an imminent and present danger, Iraq, to us. That's where we have to preemptively strike Iraq. Now imagine that someone else claims United States of America is a present imminent danger. Could that be possible? No, because we're the good ones. Why? The mass media tells us so. So we feel good when we're told that we're good, right? We are good, but I think they're baboons. Those are not good, are mostly evil. Why evil? They work against our own interests as a country, as a nation. All right, so what do you think will happen in Korea? Let's say the Americans send 5 drones from one of their little whatever vessels they have over there. Nobody knows it was the Americans. And they fly over Pyongyang. What will Pyongyang do? According to them, we'll start war against, we'll continue, because those guys never ended it. We'll continue the war start another chapter of their war. Right? And then they will attack South. South will attack North, and the Americans will help again, because we always help, man. We always help. Do we want to help? I don't want to help. I want peace. Not that kind of psst, but I want peace. And like that, it's an escalation after escalation after escalation. It's pushing and pushing and pushing. And when the other side smacks you, like Russia, oy vey. And the same thing in the Middle East. The same common denominator. Why? Because that's businesses that profit out of this. This is the main thing. Businesses. I'm not talking about the zealots, okay, who think that someone is going to show up again and it's going to be all peace. I'm not talking about those guys. They are over there. Look at the guy who showed up in United Nations, Netanyahu, and he started citing some bullshit from the little book over there. Remember that one? And that was his argument. Now remember that, let's say, the Mayas, which show up with I don't know who else, with whatever their little, I don't know, or here it is, man. The world is ours. It was given to us by Tsuku Tsuku. Tsuku Tsuku gave it to us. So, and Tsuku Tsuku is older than you. Huh? Is that the level of the human race? Yeah. Why? Because people still believe in those kind of superstitions 2,400 years after the ancient Greeks told us that, maybe Zeus's thunder is not really or thunderbolt is not really Zeus. It's something else. They told us that when it was raining or it was a hurricane, it was not the goddess, Hera, crying, or someone just got angry, or maybe Neptune was upset with the waves. They told us 2,400 years ago at least. And these guys are still believing that. and they're voting, and some of them are in charge of the nuclear warheads. So no, we're the same baboons. We're the same baboons, my friends. And it's easy to tell them, oh my God, those guys are the evil guys. We're the good guys, and you're fantastic. Who will say, wait a minute, am I fantastic? I don't think so. I think I made many mistakes. I did this, I fucked up this, I did this. I hurt that person's feelings, I hurt that one, I lied over there, I cheated over there, but I did some good things as well over there. That's how we're supposed to be. But these guys, 90, I don't have a research paper in front of me to cite the exact number, but my direct experience with people in general, I think more than 90% are incapable of seeing themselves like that. If you tell them they're great, their tail will be wagging like this. Yeah, it's true. We all have ego, and ego is very easy to be stroked, and then you're all good. But reason, my friends, reason. Remember, logos, not pathos. You need logos first and then pathos, or sometimes the other way around, but not one without the other one. Because sometimes you use only logos, and logos cannot be pushed forward without the pathos. You don't act if you're not irritated by something. There's the pathos over there, and then you have to use logos in order to figure out the situation, to solve the issue. So, you need a mixture, a different percentage. Sometimes logos bigger, sometimes pathos bigger. All right, here is, my friends. Could happen, and we're going to have over there South Korea, and you and I will be at war. But no, we're going to be far away. They are going to fuck themselves, as the Ukrainians and the Russians are doing right now, and the guys in the Middle East are doing it because of... Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.